Okay guys, and welcome back to the channel, Keeping It Simply Solar. Today we're going to be discussing on-grid versus off-grid solar and the benefits or the pros and the cons of both systems. So let's just go ahead and get right into that. Or do I need a cup of coffee? Okay, so this is known as an on-grid inverter. With this inverter, what happens is you plug your solar panels into it, and it takes the power, it takes this DC power that your solar panels creates AC power, that goes through your breaker, into your main breaker, and that feeds power directly back into the grid. So this is known as a grid tie inverter. With this inverter, now the pros of this is essential. What it does is, let's say that you have 4,000 watts of solar power and your house is using 3,500 watts of power. This will supply the 3,500 watts of power that your house is using and take the other 500 watts and return it to the grid, which you can get money for or a credit toward your future power bills. So this is great in that it does that. Now, what are the cons of this system? Well, the cons of this system is when you have a day where there's not a lot of sun out, this is not that effective and it's not very useful. And at that point, why would you want to use whatever energy you're getting from the sun or from your solar panels, whatever it might be pulling in, just from it being daylight, and return that to the utility pole when you could use that energy? So the cons of this is that, then the biggest con of this period is that if there is a power outage, you are not safe from that. So having a solar system or an off-grid solar system like this one does not save you from a power outage. If the lights were to go out, you would still suffer the same thing as everyone else on your block who didn't have solar. You guys would all not have power. All right, so that is another con of this. Do I like this? I like anything that can save you money and help you put energy into whatever it is that you're using so that you're not paying top dollar for it. Now, with off-grid, the thing that makes this so great, and this is hybrid, so this can be off-grid or on-grid. I use it as off-grid, and I use hybrid because it has the MPPT solar charger in here, and it actually has two. And that's one of my favorite features of using these hybrid inverters. But the thing with these is they come with battery storage. To put these together, you put these together with batteries. So the good thing about this system is not only could you take power in from the solar panels and push that back out to the grid if you wanted to, making it a grid tie inverter, but you could also take this inverter and run it even when no power is going on from anywhere. You can just create your own power out of nowhere just from the batteries. So to me, that is another pro. As far as cons, honestly, I don't have any cons of being self-sufficient. I don't even know how to make that sound bad. What could I say to make being a self-sufficient private grid a bad thing? I don't know how to do that. But I would suggest that even if you have this grid tie inverter and you have a grid tie system and you got solar panels all over your roof and you're saving money, but you still got to pay for, the plan that you made with your solar panel company and all of this, I guess this is cool. But true independence is having those solar panels on your house connected to this kind of inverter that does have battery storage, that you have on-demand power whenever. And it's not reliant on the sun being out. The sun does help you out during the day to, provide you power and to charge your batteries. But all in all, it's not about the sun once you're off grid and once you have solar battery storage. But yeah, I wanted to explain the difference. So if all you have is a grid tie inverter, yes, you are saving yourself money. You are not independent. You will need help if the grid goes down. You will still need a backup system. And it almost makes no sense to have this as an isolated model without one of these. And this is running, and this is saving me money. Let's get into that. Let's see what that's doing right now. Okay, so this is a really old one. But the good thing is these things last like a really long time. But you actually have to tap this to wake it up. So right now it's pushing 1143 to the grid, 1,143 watts to the grid. And let's see how many volts is coming into it. Today we almost gave up a kilowatt so far. And it's very early in the morning too, so the sun hasn't been out long. Probably do about 15 kilowatts today that we're gonna send back to the grid. And let's see. And we're coming in at 262 volts at 1148 watts. So yes, however, this system is definitely returning more power to the grid than I'm using, which is gonna help my credits if you have that kind of agreement with your power company. So my credits are gonna go up for any extra energy. But also, I have this off-grid inverter here, which as you can see, is getting its own wattage in as well. And that right now is not being used because you cannot use an off-grid inverter with a grid tie inverter at the same time. You're gonna blow something up. But right now, as you can see, the batteries are charging at 259 watts, and we're getting about 350 watts in, and nothing's being used. Even though there's power being shown going to the house, that little logo at the bottom right, you can see the house is only using 5 watts because that switch that connects that is in the off position. And I'll show you how that works. Okay, so with our breaker switch, when we're operating the on-grid inverter, the grid-tied inverter, we have that side on. So if you look here, that switch is up. So there's power now going from this inverter, coming in from this DC, going to this inverter and coming out as AC, going into my home. This side is off, which is the side that my off-grid inverter is on. So when this is off, this provides no power at all to my panel whatsoever. And when this is on, this provides power to the panel and power to the utility pole as being fed back to the grid. And if your solar is completely on grid, meaning that your power is being returned back to the grid, and that's it, you're not using it to charge up any batteries, you don't have any storage, you're not ready for what may be coming. And I believe Canada is just one of the first countries who's going to start cutting back resources for the United States because of the tariffs we've imposed and, you know, all these other things. Again, not trying to get too political, just telling you, it's up to you to be okay. No one owes it to you for you to be okay, for your family to be okay. That's something you have to take into your own hands. So with that said, my advice to everyone is don't just be satisfied with the fact that you have a grid tie inverter and solar panels on your roof, because you're still in trouble if the lights go out. You definitely need a system where you can have battery storage like this one. Now that's not much battery storage, but I have way more batteries. I just like to keep it neat and handsome. And right now I believe the system looks very handsome. And I guess that's the end of our video. But I just want everyone to know, because the goal here is to take everyone, every home in America off the grid, one house at a time. I really need you guys to please like, share, definitely comment, because I enjoy the engagement. But get the word out that we need to become independent, because you may need your neighbor's power one day. So maybe put your neighbor on and let them know, bro, we need to talk and maybe do something to get ourselves independent, because in the event that anything happens, we may have to rely on each other. And let's create something neighborly with it, because, you know, this solar journey that we're on, it's not a mission, it's a journey, and we're all on this together, and we're all trying to figure it out together and figure out the best ways together. So let's do that. Let's continue to do that. Thanks for joining me in today's video.